Hey guys, yours truly, Kevin Grace. I'm here in Dallas, Texas at Sparkman's Hillcrest Memorial Park Cemetery. And I happened to be driving by. I was looking at somebody else's grave. And if you remember the gentleman that was running for president back during the time of Bill Clinton, or during when Bill Clinton was running for president against G.H. Bush, that's Bush Sr. Anyway, Ross Perot ran as independent, and he died a few years ago in 2019. And anyway, he's buried here, and they're adding some spots around his plot area of other family members. But check this out. You can see this is really big, but yeah, this is him right here. And then they've got this up here, so they're going to be doing some really nice things. I thought they would have had this pre-done a long time ago, but it wasn't. But this is going to be something really nice, and it's got a lot of family, so there's about 7 spots over to the right over here, and you have this area too, but you see some family members have passed away. There's a Margaret that passed away in 2023, and then there's a baby that lived just for 3 years that is interred there back in 1927. And there's some other family members here for 1955. There's Gabriel and Lulu Perot. So this was here, but then they've added this other stuff over here. But this is really nice. So this is the same cemetery where Mickey Mantle is buried, and one of the owners of the Kansas City Chiefs is buried. The Lamar Hunt, he's buried here, and there's some other folks. Also, one of the coaches of the Cowboys, Tom Landry, is buried here. So this is a nice cemetery. But when I come back in the future, we'll compare what this is looking like now to what the finished product is going to be.
A window into the world he shaped. Here's David Goins.
How do you feel the election's going to go?
Well, we'll find out tonight.
While he is best known nationally for his 2 bids for the White House, H. Ross Perot's North Texas story was largely already written by the 1990s. The first chapter growing up in Texarkana and entering the Naval Academy at age 19. Just 13 years later, the budding entrepreneur created Electronic Data Systems, a pioneering IT firm that made him one of the richest Texans before the age of 40. Even then, Perot had an eye on the world, like when he organized a 1969 humanitarian flight to American POWs in Southeast Asia,
Seeking their assistance in gaining entrance to North Vietnam to bring Christmas to these prisoners.
He emerged from a Norman Rockwell painting to live the American dream.
Perot hired Tom Luce when the attorney was just 34 to handle EDS's legal business.
But I had no idea the adventures he'd take me along with him on.
When General Motors bought EDS in 1984, Perot became a billionaire. But only 2 years later, GM and Perot were at odds, and the automaker paid him $700 million to leave the company. He then started Perot Systems in Plano with his son, which would become his second billion-dollar company.
A $3 trillion debt is not sound. Not having the national will to have a budget is not sound.
But his brightest stage came in the 1990s when the political maverick ran as an independent in 1992. His no-script style made him the most successful third-party candidate since Teddy Roosevelt, and his 19% of the vote was enough to cost President George H.W. Bush a second term. Luce says Perot's legacy to North Texas will continue on.
So this is a guy that had so many different impacts on our life and on our society that we'll be feeling him for a long time.
And beyond that iconic name, Luce says we have more to thank from Ross Perot beyond his business acumen, pointing directly to what he calls an industry creator, what we now know as information technology or IT. Back to you.
If he had only accomplished a fraction of what he did, I think you'd still call it a life well lived. Ross Perot rose from humble roots and made himself into a billionaire. He was born in 1930 during the Great Depression. Only about 16,000 people lived in Texarkana at the time. As a kid, he sold everything from newspapers to horse saddles. Perot was an Eagle Scout who went on to attend Texarkana Junior College, and those roots run deep. The town named its Perot Theater after him.
Ross Perot launched an independent bid for the White House in 1992, facing off against President George H.W. Bush and Democratic challenger Bill Clinton.
I have lived the American dream. I came from a very modest background. Nobody's been luckier than I've been.
Perot grew up in Texarkana, Texas in the Depression era. His first job was delivering newspapers on the back of a pony. Perot served in the Navy, then became a top salesman for IBM. He later founded Electronic Data Systems and sold the computer services company to General Electric in 1984, earning billions.
The candidate is Ross Perot. The issue is the national debt.
Perot got into the 1992 presidential race on a platform of balancing the budget and ending the outsourcing of U.S. jobs. Clinton won the election, and some Republicans blamed Perot for Bush's loss. He drew 19% of the vote, the largest percentage ever for a third-party candidate, and ran again in 1996. Perot received a special award from the Veterans Administration in 2009 for his work on veterans issues. He continued to speak out against unchecked federal spending.
The American people are good, but they have a government that is a mess.
Perot was diagnosed with leukemia in February. In a statement, the Perot family remembered their patriarch as a true American patriot and a man of rare vision, principle, and deep compassion. Omar Villafranca, CBS News.